Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. Now, I'm really feeling under the weather, but no days off. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, except for the days I don't upload. But I'm here to bring it to you. If my voice is sounding weird, it is what it is, but I'm here to bring you this content. So, fantastic hip hop. If you guys haven't seen, Drake dropped that Irish freestyle. Go check out my reaction to it. It's the video before this one. Now we got fantastic hip hop breaking down why he actually dissed LeBron and Kendrick. Let's go.
Now, Drake has just dissed Kendrick Lamar, but in a way that we have not seen from him in quite some time. As to kick off this new year in hip hop, instead of ranting on streams or whining on social media, Drake has actually gotten back in the booth and has released a new song where instead of switching genres or languages in an attempt to try and just run away from everything that Kendrick Lamar did to him and represented.
Oh my God, this nigga fantastic hip hop hate him some Drake. Golly. Anyway, before we get hip hop is a sport, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I mean, the players is playing. Yeah, I mean, link in the pinned comment. Go get that. Go grab that. I'm sending thank you messages to everybody who gets them in these next 2 weeks. Let's go.
Now Drake is once again trying to take him head on with nothing more than his bars and a beat from Conductor Williams. And now, as this marks just in a few days the second full-on record that is dissing Kendrick Lamar to come out this year, and this is from none other than Drake, what is clear is that the rap game is running around and trying to find a way to take down the undisputed champion of everything, and really with Drake here, what it seems like he's trying to specifically do is, after seeing how every single way he tried to make a comeback just failed miserably, whether that was releasing more music, switching genres, or trying to be a full-on streamer. Now Drake is trying to get back in the rap game by poking Kendrick enough to the point where it gives him the attention that he would otherwise never get at this point. But now, before we dive into every single diss Drake throughout it,
saying Drake won't get attention is not true. Drake definitely can get attention. He's going to always get attention. You know what I mean? Come on now.
Kendrick here and why he is saying all of these things at this very moment, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And so
let's
now
go
with
fantastic.
This
Break it down.
Drake, which is
Break it down.
Titled Fighting Irish, right in line with everything else he has done ever since he lost to Kendrick Lamar within a fashion like we have never seen before. This song is very emotional, and Drake is showing that his feelings did really get hurt bad in this beef, but instead of acting like a total clown, Drake is at least putting this sadness and bitter feeling of loss back into the bars directly, which, hey, after somehow managing to make every single wrong choice for almost an entire calendar year, this is somewhat of a step in the right direction. And
you know what's crazy? I said the same thing. I am glad that Drake put it in lyrics. I'm glad he put it in music. I'm glad he made some hip hop out of it. I really like when Drake gets into his timestamp bag. That being said, seeing the reaction of this song or of this freestyle on everything, I said this and I gotta just say it. Them lawsuits, I think, cooked Drake. I think the battle hurt him, tarnished his brand, made it so maybe he won't get to a certain level of where he used to be, possibly. But after seeing how people reacted to this, I'm like, oh yeah. It's just spooky out here. I don't know what Drake can do. I think at this moment he do just need to disappear for a good 6 to 8 months and then have people miss him. I just don't know what else.
Now, with Drake actually presenting himself
he's done a lot of
in a
stuff
way
that's
that somebody
hurt
who
him
calls themselves an
and made it
MC
hard for
always
him to come
should,
back.
for better or for
I think.
worse. He does say a lot here, and seemingly does two main things, which the
I didn't
first
hate
one
that
is to try
freestyle
and
like everybody
justify
else
the
did, by the
crash
way.
out
I
he
did
has
not
been
hate
on
it.
and why he's been acting like the biggest fool in music right now. But then also, and in the greater sense, he is trying to get back in some sort of musical conflict with Kendrick Lamar, because for the first time since Family Matters, Drake is actually flipping Kendrick's bars from his diss tracks to try and dispute them, and instead of just denying everything in the strangest way possible like he did on The Heart Part 6, Drake is somewhat on the offensive here, despite how weird it is that he is doing this all of these months later. And so now, after Drake starts this track off by admitting
he did have braids in that freestyle, so I'm pretty sure that he recorded it a while ago. It dropping when it dropped, I think, was a reason. I think he was definitely testing the waters. Drake's been testing the waters lately, where he throws out a leak or throws out a song, see how the people react, and then he claims it's the same thing he did with the diss tracks. So I think he's just in a place right now where he cannot afford to drop anything beyond what people want to hear. And I just don't think people want to hear Drake right now. I just
Hitting
don't.
that during this legendary summer that was going on in hip hop, he just completely missed it, which I guess is his way of saying that he never delivered those summer vibes that he promised after the beef, which I mean, I guess some self-awareness is better than nothing. From
Yeah.
here, Drake immediately gets back into his delusional bag as he tries to call
His
out Kendrick and
delusional
find ways to
bag.
discredit and diminish his win, as after framing himself as the victim of the entire music industry, he tries to discredit everything with bars like "the world fell in love with the gimmicks, even my brothers got tickets." Which, now the first part of this bar is of course trying to say that everything Kendrick did against him was a gimmick, and that's just trying to underplay what all of it meant and represented in the greater sense.
Yeah, I didn't like when he like. It's funny too because after I reacted to it, I've listened to it more and I've caught so much more stuff that I didn't catch during the first listen. And yeah, it's just like Drake refuses to take accountability for this battle. And I think that's a part of the reason why it's dark for him. He refuses to. And he still thinks he was cheated. He still thinks that it was some sort of gimmick. He still thinks you don't like Not Like Us. It was bots making you like it. So I don't know.
Sense of hip hop and the music industry as a whole, which I don't even have to go into how pathetic and wrong of a statement that is, and really for Drake to even use this angle is still showing that he is trying to rewrite and revise history in his own delusional way instead of moving forward. But what's actually showing us something new here is in the second part of this bar, where Drake is referring to all of the people who turned sides on him, and specifically, people who he once considered friends who he thought would never leave his side, which includes names like LeBron James, DeMar DeRozan, and James Harden, who all seemingly chose Team Kendrick by going to one of the greatest shows of all time, which of course happened right after
I do understand why Drake would be mad at people being at the pop out though. I do get it if he considered you homies.
Drake took his L with the pop out. And now with Drake actually being a little
I do get
introspective
it.
here and reflecting on how he felt within a way that's actually human, this part is not bad in isolation. But of course, when you remember that he has already shown how he's felt about guys like LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan turning on him, as he has already done things like unfollowing guys like LeBron, and in the case of DeMar DeRozan, he crashed out at him in person when he went to the Raptors game, which was just so embarrassing. Altogether,
But he might have recorded that before he did that, or he's just reflecting on how he
when
feels
you see
about
the
it.
real life way that Drake handled these things, it really does take away from the moment and just makes Drake seem more pathetic than ever when you know the reality of how he reacted as opposed to how it's portrayed in the lyrics. And now beyond these lines, where things in this track really pick up and get a lot more intense, especially in terms of Drake just sending a clear signal for Kendrick Lamar to come back down and diss him again, is in the second verse, as Drake here really codes this entire performance to not just be written with language and subtle cues that are flipping terms that are associated with Kendrick Lamar and his side of the hip-hop world as a whole. But what's most important here, and if this track makes any sort of impact or causes any sort of reaction, it will be because of this, is the section in this verse where he says, "Who's got the most to lose and who's in that other position? See no conversations, boy, I hope they got double encryption. I hate to see the empire crumble on judges' convictions. This pulled a rabbit out the hat and y'all love a magician." Drake is addressing a lot of things as he sets this moment up with the first bar, which is undermining Kendrick Lamar and making him look like this bigger and more important
Now I will say, if Kendrick shoots at him again, I don't want to hear nothing, bro. I don't want to hear nothing.
figure than he
Yeah,
will ever
you
be.
called
Which
for it.
again, when we look at Drake's performance here, this is another one of its failures because I don't know why he is going about this same strategy again. Because his ability to not see Kendrick as an equal is one of the most vital factors
Yup.
to why he never even stood a chance in this beef.
Facts.
Because his own
Underestimated.
failure in judgment made him underestimate one of the greatest and most competitive rappers of all time. But now after saying this, no matter how delusional it may be, he sends out another warning to Kendrick and his camp about how he hopes that they have been covering their tracks for everything they have been doing to seemingly manipulate the entire music industry and hip-hop world against him, which again, this is just a diss that is derived from Drake's straight delusions, and very similar to the Heart Part 6 where Drake just lied to try and sound tough and act like he knew more than he did. This just seems like another rendition of that horrible tactic, but the stakes do get even higher from here, as then Drake says, "I hate
I ain't gonna lie, the Heart Part 6, the part where he said that they sent people, that shit aged awfully. It aged so bad, bro.
to see the empire crumble on judges' convictions," which is the first time we are hearing him address his lawsuit on a track. And now the message that he's trying to send with this line is showing that he both hopes he can win.
Well, okay, so now we can place the timeline of this battle, of this song, this freestyle. Because he had braids, but he had already done the lawsuits. So we know it's not that long ago. It's a bit more recent than we think.
Win this thing to save his
You know,
career,
and this-
but then he is also mocking Kendrick with this bar
I hate
simultaneously
that.
by saying that he hopes the
Boy, I hate that judge's convictions bar so much. So lame. So
truth
lame.
doesn't come out, because that will ruin all of the success that Kendrick has had in this moment. Even though with all the evidence presented and with the fact that we all lived through this moment and just saw the people get inspired by something Kendrick did like nothing else in hip-hop has in years,
Facts.
no one believes anything Drake is trying to claim about Kendrick and the success of Not Like Us as a whole. But now adding even more lyrics aimed in response to Kendrick in this track, Drake officially answers back to some of the biggest disses Kendrick threw out against him on the song that changed everything in Meet the Grams, as he tries to explain that he doesn't have a drinking problem, but then kind of admits he does have the problem, but then ultimately justifies it by saying it's subtle. And then
I love the way Fantastic Hip Hop's breaking this down. He gonna give you a little flaming too. He gonna flame you up a little bit if it's Drake.
trying to cope even more with all of this and wherever he's trying to go from here, he then says, I got my father's habits and my mother's permission. And then again, making this entire section and response to Kendrick even more confusing. He builds on this saying, my dad got another child, I told him that wasn't my sister. And here, Drake is directly flipping Kendrick's lines about him having some serious issues, but with the way he goes about it, I don't really think this is the flex he thinks it is. And with the last bar here especially, he is seemingly expanding on Kendrick's claims about him having a daughter by then saying his dad had another child, which then I guess is trying to deflect that bar just away from him and on his father, or at least that's really the only way this bar
I didn't look at it like that, but he definitely kind of.
makes some
And maybe Drake was saying that kid that you thought was mine was actually my dad's.
sort of sense in the context it's written in. And now with all of this, which together includes Drake trying to intimidate Kendrick with his litigation and then sees him responding to Kendrick's disses on Meet the Grams by saying everything he said is still kinda half true, all in all, while some people are going to be impressed by this and claim that Drake is back because cadence-wise he is rapping coherently over a Conductor Williams beat, when you actually
And one thing I do gotta say that I didn't say before, Drake gotta use a different. He gotta switch up the flow when it comes to them timestamp records, because now I'm starting to see the wizard behind. I'm not feeling well. I'm trying to think of a reference. I can't. Now I'm starting to see how you do it, how it's made, and I'm starting to point like, wait a minute, nigga, you use this. I like the fact you had the same rhyme scheme the whole thing, but that switch it up. I'm not mad at that flow. Maybe you keep it that pocket a little bit, but then you give us something else too. That's one thing I didn't say. That cadence and that flow, he got it. Every time he wants to sound like he's rapping, he uses that cadence. Where I say, man, you got to switch it up a little bit.
try to break down what he is saying and see the things he is trying to flip, all while once again trying to call Kendrick Lamar an underdog even after he has overtaken him in every single category possible. All this song really is the same story with a different presentation from Drake, and as he is still showing that he has learned no lessons from this beef whatsoever, and really that even despite losing, he is still using the same angles and losing strategy to try and make any sort of comeback, and even beyond all of these things, making this song even more jarring. Another question we have to ask ourselves entirely is,
I definitely see that you gotta just disappear, my guy. That's
why
what
do all of this now?
But like I said, after them lawsuits, bro, you on your own, gang. After the defamation, John, I said, yeah, you on your own, gang. And I'm telling you, I feel like that has a lot to do with why people are extra mad at this nigga, and it makes sense, bro.
Now, I mean, when you put everything into perspective, Drake is already lost, and the actual back and forth of this beef is over in terms of diss tracks being put out. So really from Drake releasing this song where he is just ranting about a reality that he could have tried to fix way before this but didn't, all in all, while this song may be a bright spot for him in what has been one of the worst career runs both on the mic and off of it that we have ever seen from a rapper, this song is still nothing special as he's not pushing the needle forward. And really for Kendrick, if the goal of this song was to create just enough attention to get back in the conversation with him without being directly engaged in a full-on back and forth, well, Drake.
And if you are going to diss Kendrick, you're going to have to start saying his name, bro. Yeah, because it's still giving scary. You know, that's what people are saying. It looks scary. You just look like, yeah, and I've never been I love me a good sublime. Love me a good sublime. But there's no point in being subliminal no more when we know who you talking about. You know what I mean? I don't think you need to keep saying his name. I think just so the people, just to help you not look like you scared, just be like, and then this nigga Kendrick, throw that out there. Dot this, throw that out there, because when Kendrick addressed Lil Wayne, he said Lil Wayne. Just Snoop, he said Snoop. So Young, throw that out there. Yeah, and then Dot did that. And then you could not say his name
They
for the
still
rest of
failed
it.
at
But I
that
think
because
that's,
really, what does Drake say here that makes Kendrick need to come back out and prove something to him once again? Because of course, Kendrick has already won the beef, he has the Super Bowl, he has an entire stadium tour planned, and he has the most successful rap album out right now.
That
So really,
GNX
with Kendrick
tour.
controlling everything right now, and Drake responding back to a few lines from a song that dropped over a half a year ago here, this is just another confusing move from Drake. But now what's really interesting is that as more rappers are coming back onto the scene and coming at Kendrick, and what's also interesting is that from Joey to Drake to even with J. Cole's 7-minute drill, they all dissed him over beats that were from none other than Conductor Williams. Well, maybe something is going on in 2025
I didn't know 7-minute
because of
drill
all
was
the
on
power
Conductor
Kendrick
Williams.
Lamar has. We are now going to see more MCs than ever, from Drake to everyone else, just try to pull out everything they can in their power to stop him from becoming the undisputed GOAT. And so now with all that said, let me know. What do you think about this new track from Drake, and what do you think this does to help his image right now in this time where he has been on one of the worst runs of all time? Now, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this, and if you made it to this point in the video, be sure.
Yeah, I just think Drake is having a bad one, and he got to disappear. I've been said it. I did say I think he needs to do a timestamp record and get vulnerable, which is he kind of did in this one with the barrel smoking. I kissed it like in mid, like you kissed the barrel, and you was gone for the summer. But then the rest of it is like you not acknowledging. If you had a whole song like that, and the song doesn't have to be like I lost, I got my ass whipped. It don't gotta be that. But just how did you get? Where are you mentally right now? Not who you beefing with, not who you mad at. Where are you mentally right now? How did your perception of falling, affect you? Don't just give me 2-inch acknowledging bars and the rest of it is just the same shit. You know what I mean? But y'all let me know.